All right, welcome to Transcendental Waves. This is Michael Burrows.
I'm Jeff Bailey, and today I'd like to talk about something that I think could benefit everyone, and if they knew a little bit more about it, and that's the food and healthcare system and how they're kind of intertwined to keep us sick and constant customers.
Yeah, it's big business, healthcare and food. And it seems like the people that are making the most money are keeping us the most sick, it seems like.
Yeah, so like basically the same companies own both big food and big pharma, and if if you, I mean, go to just down the regular aisles in the grocery store and you start looking at all the different additives that are in these foods and what kind of I mean these things cause it all different heart disease, cancers, all kinds of stuff that I mean, our population is taking more medicine than any other population in the world for. I mean, we spend more money on pharmaceuticals in this country than anywhere else in the world. And I personally believe it stems from what we're putting in our bodies. And it might be a conspiracy theory to some people, but I think that this is on purpose.
It's almost like if we get cured of whatever medical condition we have, then they're not making any money. And because we live in a capitalist society, everything has to be based off of more money. Uh, everything's bringing in more money than last year. And you think, is it because we're getting sicker, or is it because why?
Well, you'd think, I mean, we should be getting healthier and healthier and healthier, but we are getting sicker. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and
Then
I
it goes
mean,
back to the food, right? What we put in our body.
right. I mean, we look at like how some of these like dyes have effects on children. I mean, a lot of different chemicals like soy that is like a big, thing in food, and a lot of these different chemicals are like hormones to our children, and I mean, we're
Dude,
seeing these kids get hyperactive
oh,
disorders and different things, and then they go to the doctor, and the doctor gives them a pill to counteract that, which has side effects that end up causing them to take another pill, and then by the time they're adults, they're on 6, 7, double digits in pills for what?
how many people out there don't know that snack foods are poison?
Oh yeah, and it's a thing. Like you know, I feel like is this new science? Because when I was a kid, it was just like I've always been skinny, so like I never thought about food in a bad way. Like I just ate what I wanted. Junk food, I didn't think anything about it. And now when I go to the grocery store, it's scary. I mean try to stay to just like organic produce, and even then when you look into a lot of this stuff, like the organic stuff in grocery stores. I mean, what's happened with like the Monsantos of the world and stuff like that has basically just like GMO'd the hell out of all of our food, and there really is no such thing as organic unless you're going and buying like heirloom seeds and growing your own food. And then all these foods with these chemicals have all these hidden side effects, and the FDA, like is funded by the companies that they're regulating. So none of this stuff is ever checked, and we're the guinea pigs basically. And me personally, like I said, I was healthy my entire life. At the age of 30, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Like they have no idea gave it to me, what causes type 1 diabetes, and like so I started researching and I look into this, and it's it's crazy, man. Like it feels like I was poisoned into having this disease. Like, and it's my own choice to eat what I want. And type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. I understand that people are going to be like, it doesn't have anything to do with what you eat. But I do think that there's a lot, like everything like we do is an interwoven system. And food is such a big part of it. I mean, you are what you eat type stuff. I mean, and then we are what we eat, but then we've been fed a lot of myths about what's good for us, like breakfast being the most important meal of the day. There's so many things out there that are going around that's just based on making money instead of making people healthy, that it's hard to know like what we're supposed to eat to actually be healthy.
Yeah, it's very hard. You know, how many times have you heard of this person was so healthy, but they had a heart attack? You know, just out of the blue. You know, maybe it's because you thought they were healthy. You know, maybe we don't really know what healthy is. You know, what Hippocrates was like: "Let the food be thy medicine, and the medicine be thy food." You know, even though foods are modified now and all those GMOs and everything, people that are eating those genetically modified foods and then chopping them up and cooking them and eating them, those aren't the people that are sick and dying. You know, it's the ones that are eating the processed foods, whether it's fast food or it's a microwave meal. You know, it's those are the people, the potato chips, the snack cakes, the processed everything's processed, it
Oh yeah,
seems
the
like.
amount of chemicals and preservatives they put in food now are
Right.
crazy. I mean, and you're right. Like we personally try to buy as many of the like organic produce that you can. You have to know that like some of that stuff isn't exactly organic. I'm not saying it's McDonald's. McDonald's is way worse for you. All the anything that has the like chemicals, preservatives, like you got to stay away from that. I mean, we use an app, scan a barcode of most food items, and it'll tell you if it has any like additives, preservatives.
I mean, that's really cool. How many people will never use an app because they're like, I don't want to take the time for that, or that's just silly. It's not. It's not. That's just old wives' tales.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I had to be honest with myself, and there's a lot of stuff I've cut out of my diet, like, and or tried to find a healthier substitute for, and it's
Do you wish you would have learned this sooner?
well, yeah. I mean, I just think that like,
Like no one was there to teach us when we were growing up. People could have taught us this at 8 and 10 years old. You know, so we didn't make all these poor choices our whole life.
I think we're just taught to be, you fill up, you get full, and then you stop eating, and as long as you stop eating when you get full, it doesn't matter. Like
What
some
you
people just overeat and they get fat, but what you eat, like as long as you control your portions, it's not too bad. But the thing is like that's true if what you're eating is real food. I mean, but the our society we have been given food like products and call it food.
right? I mean, have you ever seen that movie about the eating the McDonald's all the time for a
Yeah,
year? You
super
know,
size me or
dude, every time you go into McDonald's or any of these fast food restaurants, when was the last time you went into one and they weren't all obese? I mean, it does something to you, you know?
yeah, I mean, and then like I do think that we're just like like I said, being diabetic. I never went to doctors before that. Like I've always been somebody that's just like if it's not broken, don't fix it, and if you feel good, like don't worry about it. Doctors are mostly like a body mechanic, so I would have never went to doctors if it wasn't for the diabetes. And then you get in there and you realize that like you are a customer, and they want to like they run as many different tests on everything as possible. Anything that insurance will pay for, they're gonna try to give you that, and like there's so much waste along the way, like, and it's like heartbreaking. I realized that if I didn't have insurance and didn't pay like for my medicine, like I would be dead. Like I couldn't pay for my medicine without the insurance. So like it's crazy to see how much of the stuff that they're like, because I have insurance, they'll just throw money at it and like give me stuff that I can't even use, and like I could throw like just throwing extra stuff away, but people that can't afford it, they're just not allowed to have it. And it's like I know the technology exists for like the world to be a better place. I'm not saying there's not like medicines are needed for certain things.
Yeah. Did you ever hear the guy who created the insulin, like, he sold it
Oh,
for a penny
a
because he
penny.
wanted everyone in the world to have it for free, and the corporations bought it and are charging everybody
Oh
so much
man,
money.
yeah, I could show receipts of how many thousands and thousands of dollars I would spend every month just to stay alive if it wasn't for insurance. And it's nuts, man. It's really nuts, and then it just seems like a lot of that stuff. Like I mean, you own a business where people come and try to heal themselves, and it's like you just hear how it's like. I mean, it's just a system where people are, I mean, making money off of people being sick and not really showing them how to fix themselves. Just taking advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a place where people come and they do heal themselves if they come, but that's the getting people to want to heal themselves is the hard part. Like all you got to do is there's things you got to do. You just got to go find out what those things are, because whatever you think they are, it's not them because they're not working because your life's fucked right now and you need to fix it, right? It's like, but it's hard to see that and be like, maybe I really need to change things like 180 degrees because they're not working now. But it's really hard to see that when you're trapped and the world's pounding you down and beating you down, and it's one thing's breaking, and you got high cholesterol, and then you got to get a gallbladder removed, and then your mom's dying, and then your siblings, something's going wrong with them too, and it's like you don't even give a shit about what you're putting in your belly. What you're making for dinner. It's like if you have any nerves or stress left to eat at all, it's just like just stop it at McDonald's or Wendy's.
Dude, I do think that that's a big part of it is, I mean, there's two sides of that equation. One, it's like people want to just be able to take a pill and fix something without doing the work. And two is it's like society doesn't really give most of us enough time to be able to work on ourselves sufficiently. Like, yeah, you can squeeze in a few minutes a day to do a little better, and most people could eat better than they do. But it's just like, it's really hard when the cheapest, most convenient options are the like ones that kill you the fastest.
Yeah.
And then like I said, then once people have gotten in that habit of doing the cheap and easy, convenient way of eating, and then they're like starting to feel bad, they want to just have that one pill to just throw down and be like, fix it. I mean, there's a million different weight loss pills that have been invented. I mean, I mean,
I think I'm just gonna become like, a vegetarian and eat dates and bananas and apples all day.
I do think that there's something to that. I still eat red meat and chicken and pork. I eat meat, man. I like it. I don't. I there's part of me that knows that we probably shouldn't eat, and it's only just based on that it's one of the slowest things to move through our digestive system, and it really just the longer something's in there, it has time to spoil, and when stuff spoils in there, it can make us sick in different ways. And I mean,
Dude, I think meat is a poison. I went 2 years without eating meat. I dropped so much weight. I got all my markers like dropped significantly, and then I started eating it again just because everything was I was so healthy, and like I just started feeling it again. Like I think it's time to cut that back out again. But it's been like 2 or 3 years since I went back to eating meat again, and I can't say my life has gotten any better by adding meat back into my diet.
yeah, I mean, I don't eat meat at every meal, but I do enjoy it, and I mean,
I don't. Yeah.
I eat. I mean, I still eat junk food sometimes. I don't do my. I'm not the like. I don't do the best. I'm just. This message is mostly just to like tell people to be aware of where our food come from and why everybody around you is sick all the time, and like it's not a coincidence that this country is making a ton of money off of people being sick and selling us junk food. I mean, there's commercials to sell us every kind of fast food and junk food out there in the world, and then
And pharmaceuticals.
yeah, and then the pharmaceutical companies are sponsoring Super Bowls and stuff like. So it's just, I mean,
Man, it's like when you're watching the kid shows on television, it's just ads for, sugar foods. And then when you go to grown-ups, it's pharmaceuticals. And you got some restaurants in there for both ages.
Oh man, being a parent, it feels impossible to feed your kids. Like you're going to the grocery store and it's like, oh man, I remember like eating all this like chocolate ice cream and stuff, and it. I mean, we still do that kind of stuff, but we try to keep it to a minimum, a very minimum, to where it's like a treat. It's not something to expect, and then it's just like you don't want to keep all this stuff from your kids, but you're also like, man, this is poison. Like it literally is just like. I mean,
I don't keep it for my kids. I tell them it's poison.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
you want some? Eat some poison. All right, here you go.
that's what we try to do, and it's just like I said, like explain.
That's
like,
what I do.
Yeah,
I know it's poison, but I eat it still.
we eat something too. It's delicious. Yeah, like it's the thing. It's delicious, and I know it. But like, we've been lied to like our whole lives about really where like the underlying, but where our food comes from and how we've been kind of treated like cattle as far as like we're fed these things that even if at the beginning like they weren't intentionally making us sick, they've known for a long time that these things can make people sick and they're not taken out of our food, and that's got to be for a reason. And I think it's because the same companies that own the food companies are also own the companies that make the money off of the people that do get sick. So it it's just to me like until we start like going to the local farmers markets or growing our own food here and there, like
That's the best way to do it.
yeah, start taking the money away from these people that are trying to kill us. And like you're not going to have to, you can't stop taking your cholesterol medicine today, but like start eating right, start exercising, and maybe 6 months to a year from now you are healthy enough you don't need that kind of stuff, and then you're taking your money away from the big pharmaceutical companies too. And it's just like we got to take our power back somehow, and that's the only way we can do it is start looking at like where they're dismantling our power from. And that's one of the ways they're just keeping everybody sick. And if you're sick, I mean, obviously you're going to reach out to whatever you think is going to make you better. And the hardest thing is when you realize that the thing that's going to give you long term better longevity, being healthy, is like putting in the real work and not taking a pill. These pills lead to more pills, and yes, like maybe you have good insurance and your insurance company's paying for it, and it doesn't seem to be like bothering you personally because you'll just keep taking more pills. You realize that you're feeding a system that's going to keep perpetuating making future generations sick. Like that's the biggest thing is like until we take our freedom back, we're basically just selling
Dude, it's
our
almost
kids.
like a drug addict. You know, it's a meth addict or one of these opioid addicts. These people that got on these pills, I think a lot of them, a lot of you guys probably aren't on a lot of pills right now. You're just on maybe one or two or three, four. But just like nobody does like an opioid to get addicted. You know, nobody just takes one pill and then thinks it's going to lead up to 10, you know, but it slowly does because nobody takes the time to do the work. They just take that pill and their body just keeps going down, 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 and then another pill. Oh, and then that one has some side effects and you haven't done any work on yourself. So maybe you start walking, but I mean, you got to work out 4 hours a week to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And if you're not healthy now and you go do an hour or two of walking a week, that's not even enough to make a dent and go in the positive direction. You're still going in the negative. And you just getting condition after condition after condition, and then more pills piling up, and then a surgery, and then more pills after that, and then you're like, man, I wish I just would have went a different route, but you can't because now you're on 20 pills and 2 surgeries later, and you're like, it's so hard to get back. You can be done. You can reverse it, but it's so hard.
The sooner you start trying to reverse it, the easier it is. The further you go down, the harder it is to come up. And I guess I was blessed and like to get to see like multiple sets of grandparents in my lifetime, and that was another one of those revelations to see like the different grandparents and how many different like pills are in their medicine cabinet, and then you're seeing your parents hitting their 50s and you're seeing like them starting to get that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh hell, like with this I'm not doing that to myself. Like, and it's, you think about it and you're like, oh well, we've just been eating this, the same stuff, and a lot of it's not even stuff you think about, but like even like your like I mean a lot of your canned vegetables and stuff, you got to look at those different brands and see what kind of like different preservatives and additives are added to those kind of things, because it's just there's certain, like I said, they might not be doing it on purpose, but they sure as hell don't care that it is making us sick.
To me, it's odd that the FDA has such poor standards that other countries' version of the FDA won't allow lots of the same stuff that ours does. And to me, it just makes me wonder, like, what's going on here? What's the purpose? And who's making the decisions? And maybe it's about money and not about health at all.
That's the sad part, because you look into the origins of the FDA and like the reason why it was started, and how like it was because there were giant contracts being made for food to feed soldiers and food to feed the entire country while we're at war, and they were preserving like these foods with formaldehyde and terrible stuff, and there was no standards, so the FDA's invented to help us stop stuff like that, stop people from knowingly making people sick to make money. And then,
But they can only stop it what they see, right?
well, that's the thing, is like then you see the capitalism at its finest, where along the way the FDA is going to have to collapse because there's no funding and nobody wants to pay to regulate food anymore, and so the companies that make food decide are put in charge of paying for the FDA. So
Yeah, I think like they just rotate back and forth. The people who are in charge of the FDA go to be in charge of some of the big food businesses, and then back and forth or after the other. I think I know that's how it works.
I mean, there's a revolving door in basically all of these government agencies, and then the things they overlook somehow. Like I mean, there's a lot of FBI agents going to work for tech companies right now. So
When you were a kid, did they ever teach you like, hey, there's different parts of government so they can, checks and balances and stuff, and then some at some point you can like see that, oh, that's just bullshit.
oh, there's checks and balances, all right. They're checking to make sure their balances keep going up. as long as as long as that keeps going up, they don't mind. Yeah, I mean, it is the checks and balance system. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying about the like food, like everything. Like we talk about, we want to create this heaven on earth, and we want ultimate freedom. And like, I mean, one of our biggest ways to be free is to be healthy. And I mean, food and medicine in this country are obviously like corrupt, in my opinion. And that's just one of those things where until we figure that out, we're just still gonna be slaves.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should all just be little farmers, or I mean, just think, what if you want to opt out? I mean, you have to work to get money to buy food. It's like you have to have food, so you have to have a job. Like, or you got to grow your own food. But to grow that own food, someone has to give you the place to make the food and plant the food and stuff. So it's like you're always working just to eat, basically, it seems like. So if you're going to do that, you might as well be putting the nutrition stuff in there that's going to allow you to keep working for longer and keep that quality of life for longer. It's like I know some people that maybe will never quit working because they're just so mobile and agile and good-hearted, young-spirited people.
Yeah, or they'll just continue to work because they have to, because society's collapsing.
So,
But I
yeah,
mean, I saw
that
something.
too.
I saw something the other day that said the convenience you demanded is now mandatory, and I think about that like a lot about when I say like we're addicted to the comfort. So like I think about that with food. The convenience you demanded is now mandatory. Like we stopped wanting to grow our own food. We stopped wanting to do that, like to spend so much time in the kitchens and like cooking and cleaning and doing all that, and we've turned our food into make believe pretend food that is just chemicals to taste like food, and we're paying the price for it, and until we like wake up and look at this stuff and decide, it might not be that everybody has to be a farmer, but what we are growing has to be real food. What we are putting in our bodies need to be real food. I mean, and then we will need way less medicine. And the fact that healthcare in this country is such a big business, if all of a sudden everybody's starting to need less and less medicine, I don't think healthcare companies are going to be happy. I mean, I I think we might, I think we have to change the way people look at this stuff, or, I mean, Moderna, Pfizer, all these companies that were making so much money off of the vaccine. I mean, we might just be
Dude,
seeing different versions of viruses that need vaccines if they're starting to make less money on heart pills.
I just don't know how it's gonna. People don't care, man. They're just happy to sit and die. It seems like, and they tell you they aren't, but their actions speak louder than words.
You're right.
And I think a lot of them are like, well, when I die, I'm going to heaven, or they all, yes, I'm going to heaven, someplace called heaven, or I'm going to do something, and it'll be better. Better luck next time.
I guess that is, one positive thing to Christianity. It lets people just sail off into the sunset without a care in the world. They can just, oh, whatever. I'm miserable, but when I die, it'll be better. And I mean, to some extent, that's kind of what I believe. But I also believe that it's like our responsibility to make here better,
Right? Yeah. Like God's entrusted us with, like, to do things,
to
to
be
make the
this,
world better.
to be stewards of nature.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
we're, I mean, really, like, I think that's what religion has been trying to teach us from the dawn of time, is that everything we need is given to us, and as long as we take care of the planet, it will take care of us. And I mean, I think that starts with our food. I mean, 100%.
That's
If we
right.
were like, I mean, we destroy our yards to like kill off all wildlife and stuff. And I'm not saying that I like mosquitoes and shit, or ticks and fleas in my backyard. There's a healthy balance between like what we do today and just like letting everything just grow wildly, and us not tending to it. Like, I mean, I don't think there's permaculture forests. There are different ways you can grow a lot of different crops and just have it be a part of your landscape, and it's not as much work as people would make you think. It's really, I think the thing is like I said, we've been told that we need to have all this spare time to be doing like these dumb jobs for other people, but if we could take care of ourselves, all this other stuff still can exist. I mean, like I said, and I don't think everybody has to be a farmer.
Oh no, not every, but yeah.
We just got to be more responsible with like what we allow them to do with our food.
Yeah, more fresh foods too. Because that's what I was trying to get to that. More fresh foods in our bodies. It seems like farmers are pretty good about that.
Yeah, I mean, really,
Dude, but have you seen those documentaries about big farms and stuff too? How they're owned by big companies, and it's like they're like, I would never let my kid get into chicken farming because the companies own us and they make us do this and they make us do that and they give us just enough money to get by, and it's just sad.
oh well, that's what I'm saying with like the Monsantos of the world and like these, yeah, the giant corporate farms are really like, I mean, that's kind of where like they're starting the process of like the of processed manufactured food. Like all that stuff starts somewhere.
Dude, soon they won't even need
Unhappy,
they
yeah.
won't even need farmers soon with technology. No, like I'm surprised these farmers just ain't done left quit yet.
But I think until like that's what I'm saying when we talk about stuff like that, I really do like, unless we prioritize like what's right, there's going to be a transition period. And like, if robots are making faker and faker food to where like some of this stuff that like, I mean, Bill Gates talks about like lab generated meats and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it that kind of stuff does kind of worry me. I mean, we already are a very unhealthy people, and like we need like
Could
I
this just
think
be
we
one
ha-
more step in the wrong
right,
direction?
right. Like we need to be part of the circle of life, not trying to step outside of it. Like, and it's just like, I mean, there is a way to live in balance with our world, and I just think that that's another one of those things we've struggled to find. Like, there's plenty of resources out there. There's plenty of space for us to grow food, like, and it's just like,
And a lot of you guys have asked us, like, well, what's your suggestions? What are y'all's answers? Because we're not here to give you guys all the answers. We're just, a lot of times, we're just here to show you that there's a lot of issues that maybe have never been uncovered to you. And so now, once you see these issues, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So there's lots of ways to help these issues and to heal yourself. There's it's a circle. It's a pie of multiple pieces.
oh yeah, and I mean, everybody's gonna have their own individual case scenario. Like, everybody's got their own type of sickness or whatever they're trying to heal from. And
Yep.
I mean, like I said, I don't think that everybody has to be farmers or everybody has to do like you know do the same kind of diet. Like, I just think that, like, there's a lot of quote unquote big business undertones in our food and medicine in this country, and until we get rid of that, we are not going to see people get healthier in this country. Like, the people that are getting healthier are having to do it on their own. Like, they're not, it's not because the system is set up to make healthy people.
Right. And guys and girls, when you see healthy people, if they're over like 25 or 30, like it's not just genes. They're actually working at it. They're doing things. They've learned. It's not, oh, wow, it must be nice to be like them. It's they're operating on a different plane of existence than you because you haven't taken the time to go and learn this stuff. That's we're not like this isn't, hey, let's sign up to improve our health by subscribing to Michael and Jeff. We're not going to give you all the little recipes and like there are certain things that helps different conditions versus the other things. That's not our role to you guys. We do that, and we can do that for you. But that's individual. That's one on one. That's not what this podcast is for. So, guys, go and learn that stuff. It's out there. But the hardest part is to get people just to go and find this stuff. It's like nobody wants to go find it. It seems.
Well, no, I mean, I think that, like we were talking about earlier, that we're just trained to be like, oh, this hurts, take this pill, or oh, this happened, take this pill. And I don't think people realize that most of the time, none of these pills are curing anything. They're hopefully just masking a symptom long enough for your body to heal itself. But as you get older and you've done more and more damage to your body, you're never going to get to stop taking these pills because your body's never going to have time to heal itself. You're doing more and more damage to it. So, like, as you get older, I mean, they don't, I mean,
Right. The pills are like a band-aid. However, the band-aid is a very bad description because in reality, band-aids prevent debris from an infection. So they're kind of a good thing. But these pills, they're not really stopping anything except really pain. And that's just your body being aware that something bad is going on. So it's just diluting the pain enough for it to continue to get worse and worse and worse.
yeah,
Uh,
it basically stops the receptors that trigger pain in whichever area of the body. And, like, your body is constantly, like, having trillions of cells, like, die and reborn, and it heals itself on its own. And the better food you put in it, the better fuel you put in it, the more you exercise, which keeps this stuff circulating, you will heal faster on your own. I mean, I guess that's just what people like. The thing that I'd like people to know is, like, we're meant to heal ourselves, and we're
it takes
stopped.
time, guys. It
Yeah,
takes time.
the food and medicine that we're given is not part of the process. You have to hunt this out and try you got to try very hard to be a healthy person in this country.
Oh, yeah, you do. It's hard.
Well, guys, I guess, good luck out there. Eat healthy. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yep, we loving your comments. We love the feedback we're getting. Stay positive.